Yeah, I'll react to that, sure.
Hey guys. Oh, hey guys. Original link to the video, top of the description, right below that. Link to the Discord. Click on it. Just enjoy it over there. Hello, Deutschland. Let's go. Voice crack. Let's go. Good. I'm almost 30. Still cracking the voice. Good.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World. We're in Bamberg, Germany, on their nice little waterway here, their little Venice, as they like to call it. And Bamberg is one of my favorite cities in Germany. We love it here. The town hall is fantastic, and you'll be shocked how beautiful it is. And that's why we're here today, to give you the 10 things that will shock you about visiting Germany.
Guys, me, my dad, and brother, along with a German guy in a bar, we are on the front page of a newspaper in Koblenz, Germany. True story, okay? I gotta find it.
And the first thing that's going to shock you is when you
picture.
get to Germany, anything to do with a toilet is going to shock you. One, you're going to have to pay to use the toilet. If you're in the train station, it's going to be €1 to go pee or other business. If you're at a store, you might see an old lady sitting there waiting for you. You know, the toilet women. You see,
guys, that is the one thing that is like, it sounds so American to like, yeah, you want to use a public bathroom? Well, pay. But that is a ridiculous concept over here. That's like the one case where I would have expected. Anyways, because if I have to go to the bathroom, okay, and I don't have a coin, I'm getting in that bathroom, okay? Oh, well, I'll just take a crap in my pants right here, just on the street. Okay.
them like, why is there this old lady sitting at the toilet and she has a thing out? Oh, I gotta pay for it. So you gotta pay for the toilets, and then there's the toilet women that kind of make you go, what's going on? And they give you this look that, you know, I gotta give them money now because otherwise they're not gonna let me pee or poop ever. Okay, so that's kind of weird. Another thing that might shock you is if you get into some of the German toilets, they have kind of what we call a shelf.
Sorry, I'm having probably very annoying facial expressions. Like, sorry, I'll stop that.
Another thing that might shock you is if you get into some of the German toilets, they have kind of what we call a shelf toilet. Like, you poop onto a shelf. And it's so you can observe your poop and make sure everything's okay, I guess. And the thing is, this shelf is there, so it gets a little stinky, but also when you flush it, it's like a waterfall going down. And if you don't know about it and you push the flush button while you're sitting there, you get a nice little spring of shocky waterness in all your nether regions, okay? So the first thing that will shock you about Germany is anything to do with the toilets. Now, the second thing that might shock you when you come to Germany is when we think of Germany, we think of organization, clean, everyone follows the rules and these kind of things. But when you come into a train into Germany, you come to the train station, you walk outside and you see these Aussies, these, as they call asocials, Aussies, or Penna, awesome. Or, you know, these people that are, you know, kind of scary. They look like they're drug dealers or drug addicts with their dogs, and they're loud and they're kind of dirty and they're scary. And that's kind of a shock for tourists when they come, as there are all these beggars and there are all these people outside the train station, whether you're in Hanover or Frankfurt, is horrible for it. Just realize they're not going to do anything to you. They're not there to bother you. They're getting taken care of by the government. They'll leave you alone. You just leave them alone, okay? But it can be a shock.
Question, guys. It's really interesting, this style of architecture, which seems to be even more common in the Netherlands and even Belgium and Denmark and then Sweden and Norway. Is this style of front-facing building with the front face like a pyramid? You know, I don't need to describe it. You're looking at it right here. And I wonder which architect started that made many Northern European countries adopt that. Because there had to have been someone who started it, since it's so common.
It is horrible for it. Just realize they're not going to do anything to you. They're not there to bother you. They're getting taken care of by the government. They'll leave you alone. You just leave them alone, okay? But it can be a shock for that first time you come and you walk out of the Hanover train station, and there's all these people out there that are like, look like beggars or drug addicts, and they got their big dogs, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die. You'll be fine. Don't worry. But we'll shock you, so be ready for it. The third thing that might shock you when you come here is a lot of people, when they they think of Germany, they think, oh, I'm going to see half-timbered houses everywhere. I'm going to see people in lederhosen. There's going to be beer halls everywhere. Everybody's drinking big beers and liter beer things. Well, you know, we look here. We're here in Bamberg, and yes, we do have the half-timbered houses and the beautiful architecture, and they do have great beer here, but that's not typical Germany. Germany
Bavaria.
is a modern country. It's a multicultural country. You have Greeks, you have Turkish people, you have people from all over Europe and Poland living here, and you're not just going to see people in lederhosen and, you know, what you imagine Germany to be from your grandpa's pictures in the war. Germany is a very multicultural land, and you're not going to see the half-timbered houses, the girls with the big hands and the big beers. You're not going to see that all over the place, all right? So just be prepared for that. A lot of people are shocked that they're in Berlin. They're like, well, where's all the liter beers and beer halls? Oh, guys, that's in Bavaria. And the reason why you ever wondered why the Americans have a certain view of Germany as Bavaria is because after the Second World War, the U.S. was in control of the South, so our traditional ideas of Bavaria, of Germany, are Bavaria.
Interesting. Oberkarolinenstrasse.
So our traditional ideas of Bavaria, of Germany, are Bavaria, with the beer halls and the drinking and the liter beers and stuff like that. And that's not Germany. That is not what Germany is these days. And that can shock a lot of people.
So that's like saying, like, someone from outside of the U.S. going to, like, New England or California. Oh my God, what did I just do? Going to, like, New England or California and being like, where are all the cowboys? Wait, where's all the West? It's like, no, that's Texas, or that's...
Yeah, it's because after the Second World War, like that. And that's not Germany. That is not what Germany is these days. And that can shock a lot of people because, you know, they expect something different. Now, the fourth thing that might shock you when you come here, and it's a lot of Americans like to make Nazi jokes, okay? Like, oh, the Nazis, haha, you're a German, you're a Nazi.
Jesus Christ. What?
You may be shocked to hear this, but you know what? Germans do not appreciate that. They're ashamed of their time during the National Socialists, the Nazis' time, and they're very embarrassed by it. They hate that it happened, all these things, and they don't find it funny. I know when I hear...
I'm sorry, like, I don't like to judge people that much, but you're just... if you go to Germany, especially for the first time, or anywhere, and just start making Nazi jokes, you were just not a good...
See Americans coming here, they make Nazi jokes about people, or when Germans go to the U.S., they say, oh, he's a German, he's a Nazi. Yeah, I know in the U.S. we made it as a joke, but here in Germany, it's not taken as a joke. It's a very serious thing. The swastika and those flags are actually illegal here. You can't actually have those. Mein Kampf is not allowed to have here either. So you may think it's funny, but the Germans don't find it funny at all. So don't make any...
By the way, guys, I just think that's stupid.
Not allowed to have here either.
Never mind. It's not my business. Just the government telling me that I can't own a book, no matter how egregious the book is, no matter what historical context it has, or just that rubs me the wrong way. It's like, yeah, I don't need you to tell me that, government. Thank you very much. And that I don't like that. But okay, I don't live there. I understand. I don't get everything. So.
But the Germans don't find it funny at all. So don't make any Nazi jokes when you're here because it's not cool, okay? So that might shock you.
I don't think you should need to be told that.
Not cool here. The fifth thing you might get shocked about when you come here is German service. Now, the Germans are great people. Like, once you become friends with them, they're awesome. But it's tough to get to know them. And in the service industry, they're very professional, but you won't think they're very nice. Or they're like, you don't realize you have to actually ask every single question. Typical example. I was in Hanover a couple years ago. I asked to say, hey, do you have an English menu? And the waitress said, yes, we have an English menu. Then she goes away, comes back 10 minutes later and says, what would you like to eat? And I'm like, well, I need an English menu. Oh, you want one? Yes, I want an English menu. Oh, then she went and got it. It was very much, you got to follow the rules and go by the step by step, which for some people, if you don't know how the German system works, you may think it's rude, but actually it's quite professional, and they will be very helpful if you ask, but you have to ask. And in terms of the people, I look at it this way. Think of it as two circles, okay? In the U.S., you have your acquaintances and then your friends in the two circles. In the U.S., it's very easy to become an acquaintance and then kind of be a friend, but it's hard to get them to be the really good friend. And so it's kind of like a dotted line on the outside. Right. And the friendship is the hard line. In the U.S., well, sorry, yeah. Yeah, so in the U.S., it's the dotted line on the outside, so easy to become an acquaintance, but really hard to become a good friend. In Germany, it's hard to become an acquaintance. That's a lot harder. But once you get to know them, then it is easy to become friends with them, and they'll show you around, tell you all kinds of things, meets their Oma, and all these kind of great things.
So it's pretty much eliminating the I won't take it too literal, guys. Believe me, I know with these videos, you know, they have to. You gotta. You know, Walter's world. He needs to make content, and so, um, believe me, I'm not going to judge Germany based on one video. Okay, so don't get it mixed up that I'm letting it do this. I know he's got to make a top 10 list, got to bring up, you know, 10 things, and so
easy to become an acquaintance.
so there's essentially like you skip like you cut out X, the acquaintance part.
But really hard to become a good friend. In Germany, it's hard to become an acquaintance. That's a lot harder. But once you get to know them, then it is easy to become friends with them, and they'll show you around, tell you all kinds of things, meets their Oma and all these kind of great things. But just know, in terms of service, you're going to be like, man, what a bunch of jerks sometimes. But they're not jerk people. Just think of professional and make sure when they come to order your food, you order your drink and meal right away, because they ain't coming back, okay?
Can I say something? Of course I can. I pause. I think whenever you go somewhere, especially for the first time, maybe the second time, third time, fourth time too, okay? Whenever you go somewhere new, you need to let down your judgmental side, because you're only going to make yourself upset by looking at all of the things that you expect in America, and then it's not the same over here. I don't think that just goes for America. I think that goes for wherever you are from to wherever you are traveling to. I think it's just a good basic rule to not get emotional or defensive about stuff when you're first experiencing it. That is a recipe for disaster.
That might shock.
Excuse me, a recipe for thinking things are true that aren't true, or you know what I mean, you know?
Okay, so the service might shock you a little bit when you come to Germany, but just be ready for it, okay? And that's why you kind of tie 5 and 6 together, because 6 is the actual people when you are here. You know, we have these kind of theories and stereotypes of Germans that they're cheap and that they're unfriendly and they're cold, but honestly, they're not. They're actually very good people, but the thing is, you got to get to know them, like I talk about the circle of friendship kind of stuff. Yes, service, not the best, but it is professional. Just make sure you ask everything. The people may seem cold, but once you get to know them, they're fantastic and super helpful. And if you're here in Bavaria, like in Bamberg or Munich, the people are the most friendly of anywhere in Germany, but there's friendly Germans everywhere, and that might shock you because they're not the cold-hearted people you expect. They're actually very wonderful, and that can be very shocking for people that grew up thinking that Germans are these crazy, cold-hearted people, and they're not. Now, the 7th thing that might shock you when you come to Germany is your hotel bed, because there's a crack in the middle of it. You know, I kind of see why there's not a lot of German children, because with a crack in the bed, if you're doing things, the beds come apart. I mean, we've stayed here with our kids, and I've stayed with my parents, and we've lost children in that crack because the beds kind of separate, and boom.
It's acting like they died. Or...
Caleb has fallen through the middle. One time we were in Frankfurt, and my mom and dad and I were sleeping in one bed together. Well, it was a crack in the middle, and all of a sudden, boom, Dad's gone. You're like, what the hell just happened? Look, when you get your double rooms, a lot of times it's 2 single beds pushed together, and there will be a crack in the middle. And that can be a lot of surprising for people, especially if you're coming here for your honeymoon. So just a word of warning, be careful with the beds, because that crack, I mean, you're going to lose people. Children, money, your father. I mean, these are things that have happened to us. So just be ready for that shock of,
Otto?
There's a crack in the bed. Okay.
Is that Bismarck?
Just be ready. The 8th thing that might actually shock a tourist when you come here is Germany. You go around, you see these high-speed trains, you see all this fancy electronics and cooler phones and anything we have in the U.S., and then you go, oh, you want to pay with a credit card? Oh, no, we prefer cash. Bargeld bitte, bar bitte. Cash is king here in Germany, and you need to be ready for it. So if you want to use you remember the toilet lady in the beginning, you got to have your coins for her, okay? She doesn't take credit card.
Pretty good price, 132 for that nice looking.
If you want to use you remember the toilet lady in the beginning, you got to have your coins for her, okay? She doesn't take credit card. And here, credit cards being more accepted in Germany, but still they prefer cash, so be ready for it. And if you do have a credit card, make sure you have a PIN number for it as well, because you might need to put that in. The Germans, you'll see they'll use their cards, but they have what's called an EC card. Okay, it's for their banks here. It's got a little chip in it, and so they use those. Okay, but most of the time, cash is king. I lived in Germany for 3 years.
A donkey under a dog, under a cat, under a rooster. CAC?
Chip in it, and so they use those, okay? But most of the time, cash is king. I lived in Germany for 3 years. It was not uncommon to go to Saturn, like a Best Buy kind of store, and see people buy a $3,000 computer with cash, okay? So be ready for that, okay? So make sure you have cash with you, because cash is more or less king here in Germany. The 9th thing that may shock you about it, or may not...
What kind of roll is that for that? Why?
Cash with you, because cash is more or less...
More of the dog is hanging out of it.
king here in Germany. The ninth thing that
It
makes
looks like you ate all the bun. Oh, sorry.
shock you about it, or may not shock you about coming to Germany, is how much they love pork.
Oh,
Whether-
I had a sausage. It was one of these. It was like a white sausage, and it was delicious. I was kind of like, huh? What is that? Do they cook it? But it's delicious.
You're here in Franken or northern Bavaria, and they have pork shoulder, which is fantastic, or ham hocks, or maybe Schweinhaxe. Oh my God, I love
Schweinhaxe?
Haxe. Or all the sausages that are here, whether you're having currywurst in Berlin or Weisswurst here in Bavaria, or Nuremberger Bratwurst in Nuremberg. I mean, they love their sausage here, and it's all the time. So yes, you really will. If you go to the German restaurants, you'll have your sausages and your porks and your sauerkraut and your dumplings, and they will go all out. But remember, this is a multicultural land, so Germans don't actually eat German food as often as you'd think. That's why when you go to German restaurants, sometimes you see more tourists than you do see locals. So, but they still love their pork here. So just be ready for pork, and some more pork, and then have some sauerkraut to help things move along, let's say, okay? But I prefer the rotkohl, which is like red cabbage because it's sweeter, and that's how I keep this fantastic figure with all that extra sugar and sweetness. And the 10th thing that might shock you about Germany is actually when you see German tourists abroad. There's the stereotypical German tourist, okay? Jack Wolfskin coat, or they have this like vest. It's like a khaki vest with lots of pockets, and of course the matching accessories. Now this is mostly just guys, don't worry, the women are fine, but the guys, the matching accessories are sandals with socks. Not white socks, but like black socks or blue socks to go with those sandals.
So it's white.
It is beautiful. And you go around, you're like, oh my God, that you got to be kidding me. But you walk around, you'll see it here, but you have this typical German tourist of the vest and the socks with the sandals, and maybe their backpack it seemed like they had in kindergarten. It's pretty funny when you see it go.
I was stereotypical American tourist. I had mid-calf socks, Nike shoes, salmon-colored polo shorts, a Vineyard Vines t-shirt, and a backwards hat.
Around. You don't see it as much as you used to, but you still see it sometimes. And when you do, you're like, oh, socks and sandals. That's an interesting, shocking choice. Anyway, so those are just 10 fun things that might shock you if you do come to Germany. It is well worth it. We love it here, as you know, from our literally hundreds of videos in this country. And if you want to learn more, 5 things you're loving about here in Bamberg, 5 things you love and hate about Germany, what you should eat when you're in Bavaria or in general Germany, or what sausages you should try when you're here, check us out on our website at waltersworld.com.
All right, guys, great video. Love this channel, Walter's World, amazing channel. Any Germans out there, Oak? Let me know if any of the... look, I've seen Walter's World's New England video, so I get it, okay? I never watch a single video about a place or a country, especially a whole country, and take that as that's what it's like, okay? So don't worry about that. I know that some things could be wrong, some things you gotta make to fill in the top 10 list, but good video nonetheless. Whenever a video ends when I didn't even think it was halfway over, it means it was a really good video. I enjoyed it a lot. Love y'all. Can't wait to see your responses. See you next time. Bye, guys. Join the Discord. Bye.